is a threat in the world today. A threat to our way of living, a threat to our society, and maybe even a threat to our very existence. And what is this threat?
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world.
He is the one.
I am.
I am the ass.
He is.
And we are Black and White Sports.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
How am I not found the best fighter in the world? You tell me. Because you're retired?
I mean, I want to see your face when you ask him this question and the way you're going to ask it. Look a man in the eye before you try to kill him or make up something.
He went through my soul.
And I'm not surprised.
What is going on, BWSPORTS1 World? This is Wednesday Night Live, powered by First Financial Bank, 317-417-8582. Call John for all your banking essentials and accessories, Damon. 317-417-8582. And the Rockstar Realtor himself, Mr. Shawn.nugent, 317-503-8322. Check him out. Buying or selling a home, talk to Shawn at Talk to Tucker today. 317-503-8322. Damon, it feels like forever that I've seen you, but now you're back in the presence of greatness. What's happening?
What's going on? Hey, the last time you seen me, my team was undefeated. Hey, guess what? They still are.
Hey, guess what? I'm in first place. Suck, but we're in first place.
And so am I. And on Sunday, we're going to help you stay further.
I mean, that should be no problem for you guys.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We go, hey, you still
I mean,
got
it
to play the
should have been
game.
a problem for us, and it sure was.
I mean, hey, we're not going to do that. We're going to play the game. That's why they play the game. Yes, I am. Not going to do it.
What's happening?
Nothing, man. Just we're fresh back. It's our first show. Well, my first show. Your second back from our awesome business vacation down in Daytona, debuting that awesome speedway indoor tracking or karting down there. You know, awesome facility. Great fun.
Yes. It was fun. Even though Damon didn't get into a car.
Even though you lost the keys.
I did not lose my keys. I misplaced. I didn't even misplace them. I knew where I set them. I just forgot to grab them again when I set them there. Yes. Did we die? No.
Wow.
We didn't die. We're back home.
And I want to give a shout out to all the Allegiant stewardess, flight attendants, or whatever the hell they're called nowadays.
They helped him get a little leg room.
I want to thank you for allowing me to move seats and be able to stretch out on the plane for a comfortable ride. I golf clap you.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's go. What we got?
You know what's going on tonight, Damon? We have a special guest with us tonight. That's right. Let's see. I got 30 million things he told me to announce him as, so I got to pick the three. No, I'm just joking. He is the host of Draft Vice. Oh, my God, I lost the text. There it is. Host of Draft Vice, Punk Law 101, and co-host of Face Off with Facemeyer with Brenda Facemeyer, which I was on there with him before. Wojo.
I watched that.
Oh,
welcome. Wojo.
How are you guys?
Walter Deptouch. Did I say it right?
Yes.
He's just floating.
He is. He's like
the vortex.
What number? Who wears number 13 on your team, Damon?
The hell if I know.
Okay, so that Wojo. Wojo is now a Pittsburgh Steeler.
No, this isn't a Steelers. I don't think it's a Steelers shirt. I couldn't be a Steelers fan. I would really, I would be lambasted till the end of time if I became a Steelers fan.
That would be a little kind of what do they call it? Blasphemy, being a Browns fan.
Yeah, well, Joe Hayden did it, so it's like, oh, I was a Joe Hayden fan. It's not even a Joe Hayden number either.
I just want to let everybody know that he is loyal enough to allow himself to be known as a Browns fan, folks.
Is this true?
I have no problem with it.
I only know two of them now.
Hey, you know what? I think they're climbing. The problem is we're in the AFC North, and there's just two really good teams as well in this division. Honestly, Browns should all get traded to the NFC East, and like we would be like a top team this year.
Dude,
you would be the team.
I'm pretty sure it's close to like I think the Browns almost have as many wins as the whole NFC East.
I believe so. I believe so.
I'll say this. I like the direction that Cleveland is trying to go. I get the idea that they try the experiment of let's build a team solely off analytics. They tried it. It failed miserably. And so they've kind of gotten back into integrating all phases into still playing football. And I like that they have not given up on Baker as quickly as they have other quarterbacks. He is a very talented young man. They just need to fit all the pieces together for some time and let them grow. I think they're doing a phenomenal job at that. But the best thing about Baker Mayfield right now is his damn commercials. They are absolutely outstanding. The one with the keys and then having to go back through the security check every time. Oh, that's great. It's great.
That and the Hulu commercial, the face swap one. Oh my God, that one gets me. That one. I've said this before. Baker might be the first Browns quarterback to be on SNL. Like that he might be on SNL before he's in the Super Bowl.
Quickly. Yeah, I agree with that. I'll take that. That over.
Well, yeah, in the same division. I actually liked it the way that they're trending. They actually kind of made a move back towards analytics. So what happened was they had Dee Podesta and Sashi Brown. They fired Sashi Brown. They hired the big man himself. Why is his name? John Dorsey, my buddy boy. And then he kind of left after they wouldn't let him hire his second head coach after he kind of fumbled the whole Kitchens hiring. Then they went ahead and brought in Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry at the same time. Andrew Berry, though, has been with Cleveland in the past. Like he was with the Eagles last year. And I think he took what he learned from Harry Roseman and said, you know what, we're going to invest in the offensive line, kind of like what the Eagles do. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out this year for the Eagles. Just everybody gets hurt on the Eagles this year. And that's why the Browns' offensive line has probably been pretty good this year. I've been pretty happy with how they've turned out. I think they've been leaning more towards analytics, although they keep running on 2nd and 10. So I don't know if that's true that they've gone away or for 2nd and 10s apparently. But they were also running the ball really well for a while. So there's a point where, like, on analytics, I think it's like if you're able to run it for 7 yards a pop, then run it, right? Like at that point, you're completing enough of the. Yeah, then you're fine. And at a certain point, when they had Nick Chubb and Wyatt Teller, and the offensive line was groovy, and the defenses they were playing were not groovy, running it on 2nd and 10 didn't mean anything.
You kind of gotta run it on 2nd and 10. If you throw the ball on 1st down and you get no yards, I mean, you got to get something positive.
We think that, right? Like you and I, we're watching it. We think that, and apparently you're more likely to be successful if you throw it again on 2nd down. As far as what the analytics has shown, depends also on the build of your roster. If you, again, like I said before, if you can run it for 7 yards a pop on 2nd and 10, you're going to run it for 7 yards a pop. Like you're now being successful. It's all about the success rate of those plays. Most of the time when you're running it on 2nd and 10, the average team running it on 2nd and 10, if they threw it on 1st down, more teams are keying in on that, right? Like they know that you threw it on 1st down, and they kind of know the tendency is you're probably going to run it on 2nd down, so they're going to key in on that, which is why play action works really good. Just run play action all the time. This is why Tannehill is having like that career epic year. Not that Tannehill's not been good, but like that's part of like they've been running a lot more play action with Tannehill and the Titans.
When you have a running back like Henry, it makes it very easy to run play action. But if you have a running back like, say, some random guy, you know what I mean? That play fake has to be legitimate.
Yes. Well, this is why the San Francisco 49ers do really well. Half their thing is play fakes and screens and play action and throwing it to the running backs, getting run after catch. You've seen their investment in their receivers, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, guys who can get run after the catch. And then like their running backs are guys who at least have solid vision, who can run the outside zone game. But again, they mix it up in the running game. But part of that is that they've married the play action. This is basically the whole Shanahan, Stefanski, LaFleur. You're marrying your running game to your passing game. You're making one look like the other, and it makes them both look really good. If you watch the Packers, right? How often do they run out of the shotgun? Almost. I don't think I've seen them actually throw out of the shotgun for the first 4 games of the year. They were always running play action, and Aaron Rodgers would play action. That's just cheating. By the way, who thought Aaron Rodgers was dead this year, man? I had him in every fantasy league. I'm happy about that call. I'm just bragging.
I just knew Aaron was gonna do something. You ain't, man. He got too much pride. You ain't just going to just walk me out the door, and I ain't going to put up a fight.
I just didn't think they gave him much to use this year.
They
didn't in the draft, man. They totally left him hanging.
That's what makes him great. And with the defense sucking as bad as they are, that makes it even more tremendous of what Aaron is able to do, even though I think that they're closely not making the playoffs, even how good he's playing.
Because you don't think they're making the playoffs?
Man, that defense is terrible, dog.
It is, but you got to look at their division. Like they got the Bears. Like I think they'll beat the Bears, and they have a way better offense. And I think Packers offense versus Bears defense. I think Packers offense wins. We will see eventually when we see them play each other. But the Bears offense is almost non-existent. Like it's kind of like how are they? They were like what's the saying? The worst 5-2 team ever. They're going to be the worst. They're going to be the worst like 15-2, 15 and 1 team. I guess 14.
I got a weird feeling with these Bears. I'm jumping on board with my guy because he had a lot to say about the Bears when we did our preview show, and I'm kind of doing a lot of leaning with him. I know they had some struggles on offense, but shit, who doesn't have struggles throughout the season except for Kansas City on offense? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Pittsburgh, we had our struggles even in the middle of this 0-loss run. I mean, we had 4 quarters in a row that we didn't put up no point. I mean, we put up 3 points. You know what I mean? That's
it's true. I think with I think with the Chicago Bears though, it's like it's endemic to their team. It's who would you rather have at quarterback, Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky? And it kind of almost feels like I don't have an answer for you. Like Trubisky, you have the athleticism, but he kind of Jameis Winston's you. Like he will do something completely stupid, and they'll be losing against a team that has. He'll be playing against a team that has like the worst defense in the world, like the Falcons, and then they'll still be losing, and then but even still, Nick Foles is not much better right now. Nick Foles' passes, I mean, he looks better than Ben DiNucci, who we were talking about before the show, but like it's only moderately better. Like there's a lot of these passes where he's throwing a screen pass and like Allen Robinson has to jump up to go get it, and I'm like, and it's not like it was a clear path. It wasn't like they're doing a screen pass and they're having the offensive lineman get out in front. He's got to make it over somebody. It was just like straight line. Allen Robinson's like, oh God, it's like 10 feet in the air. How am I getting that? There's just times when I watch Nick Foles throw and I go, what happened to accuracy? Like you were the guy who had like that 2 interception season that was just insane. It's like he gets out of the Eagles as a backup and and I don't think it's a mental thing. It's just that you can build around what he does pretty well and he'll win you a few games. He's probably the highest end backup you can have. I just don't think he's a long-term starter. There's a reason why the Jacksonville Jaguars couldn't build around him. There's a reason why even when we watch a lot of these games that like we feel like Chicago should be winning, their offense is just kind of so stale. Part of it's also the offensive line. They've had a couple of injuries. Everybody's had injuries. Allen Robinson. Like, yeah. Well, yeah, go to the Eagles. Eagles have had horrible offensive line problems. I think that's kind of led to some Carson Wentz issues that he's kind of starting to see ghosts. I don't know what's going on with Wentz, because Wentz 1 minute makes some amazing throws. And we'll get to, and then Fulgham's become like their lead guy, and he's played really well for him. And Wentz will extend a play, like when they were playing the Steelers, right? He kept it competitive against the Steelers, but then they're playing a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who are basically like forgetting that they're like even have a season. Like they've lost like 3 quarterbacks. They're now down to, again, like the guy who slings pastrami down at the Carnegie Deli you're talking before. And now they're going to be playing who's Gilbert Grape or Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush, who like sounds like a character from Mario Kart. Like they're down to these like random quarterbacks that it's like, and they're still competitive. Like it didn't make any sense. And it's like, I just remember watching, and granted, I was playing against Carson Wentz in a fantasy league that one when they were playing Dallas. So when he had like the 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles and just the craziness, I was just like, I was happy because I'm playing against him. I'm like, okay, fine for me, man. I got to win this week. But I'm watching him as a fan of Carson Wentz because I do like Carson Wentz. I think he's a good quarterback. I think there's a lot of issues that they've had this year, and he's had to carry that team a lot of the time, the last year and a half, 2 years. And this year he doesn't even have an offensive line. So like Eagles wise, I just feel bad for like Carson Wentz. I feel bad for the Eagles, but now the Eagles are number 1 anyway because the rest of their division doesn't know what football is.
And like the Giants looked good the other night. Giants look good Monday.
Giants are starting to show that they will eventually be a team. Now, if Dave Gettleman's involved, I don't know how long. Like, Dave Gettleman's kind of been weird. I've had mixed messages and mixed feelings on Dave Gettleman. He'll make some really interesting, cool picks. At the same time, like, he has some major head scratchers. I think Saquon Barkley, as great of a player as he was, you knew Eli Manning's at the end of his career. I know a lot of people look at a lot of these quarterbacks going like, oh, well, you know, Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold haven't done anything in the NFL now. But that's results over process. And my problem is with Dave Gettleman's process, right? Like he's drafted, you know, he's got 30 D tackles who are really good. Dalvin Tomlinson, BJ Hill, Leonard Williams, who we trade from the Jets from. So like, I like a lot of the defensive linemen. I think the Giants have some pieces. Their like James Bradbury was a good pickup. Now, granted, Gettleman has experience with him from the Carolina Panthers. But I still don't, Daniel Jones, right? You knew Eli Manning towards the end of his career the year before, and you can't tell me you thought Daniel Jones as a prospect coming out was better than the guys the year before. Like, I just don't think that was a real thing. Even if you like Daniel Jones, you still went, all right, what quarterbacks does he compare to? Maybe Ryan Tannehill. Maybe he becomes an eventual good guy, a good player in the NFL, but he's still not the guy right now who's going to be an elite player for your team.
Well, and that's where you reside at, right? That New York, New Jersey area, correct?
Yes, I literally live I live about a 30-minute drive from Meadowlands, which is where they play. I like to go down every Friday or Saturday night to go get halal from the juicy platters down the block. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, juicy platters in Fairlawn, halal guys too. Great place. Been to New York. Go to New York City. I'm literally like a stone's throw from New York City too. I like this little area.
What's going on with the Jets?
Oh, so I have a lot of Jets friends who are fans of the Jets.
That's unfortunate.
Oh. The Browns fan in a league full of Jets fans. That's my fantasy league. It's 90% Jets. There's maybe one Denver Broncos fan. That's my cousin. And then it's everybody else is a Jets fan. And this year, for all of them, it's been misery. I think Joe Douglas is the guy to lead them. I do think that. I've had questions about how they've handled certain things over the past over the last year and a half. When you look at the Jamal Adams trade, I don't know if that's all on Joe Douglas or there's something from ownership, right? Like, and then not only that, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the media right now. Guys who used to cover the team who lost their credentials. So there's a lot of like fighting amongst media people, and like this is why you're hearing about Quinnen Williams potentially getting traded. He's not getting traded. He was a top 10 pick. Unless you're trading 2 first-round picks like this, like some other teams have done, unless you're pulling off a trade like what the Steelers did for Minkah Fitzpatrick, or what the Seattle Seahawks did for the Jamal Adams, you're not getting him for nothing. So I don't believe that was a thing. But there was just a lot of people on the outside looking in. I think Adam Gase is just there to lose. I don't know. I think he's just there to lose, get them the top overall pick, and then Joe Douglas gets to make his decision on whether he wants to move forward with Sam Darnold and trade that number 1 overall pick for a host of assets because he's from the Ravens, and the Ravens are.
Well, I want to know what Gase has on ownership that he still has a job.
So I think when you look at the end of last year, they looked at that little string of wins that were like, they started out so badly. And like, honestly, I think the death nail for me, if I was ownership for Adam Gase after 1 year, was when Sam Darnold had not COVID, when he had the other, not menopause.
When he was
Mono, yes. I don't know why I was thinking menopause. Yes, Sam Darnold had menopause. Yeah, all right.
That's a story in itself.
That would have been great. That would have been a whole other thing. Like everybody was talking about Mono and him making out with like teenagers and him seeing ghosts, and it's like, no, he's got menopause. Like, oh my God, menopause? He's very young to be getting menopause. And
that'll
not a woman.
cause you to do some crazy shit.
No wonder he's seeing ghosts. He's getting the night sweats while he's throwing the ball. It's like, God damn it, man! I gotta take this stuff off.
Hey, that sealed his deal.
Yeah. So yeah, right. But I think what happened was when he had Mono, and they were playing Luke Falk as like their 3rd string backup. They weren't even practicing with Luke Falk as their starter. They were having Darnold practice, knowing that he wasn't going to play, and they were punting games away. And that's kind of ridiculous when you watch how the Detroit Lions played on Thanksgiving last year, and they had their 3rd stringer go in, and they nearly win the game, like on Thanksgiving. Like it was, or maybe I don't remember if they won the game or they nearly won the game last year on Thanksgiving. But they had a 3rd stringer who was competitive, and they were using his athleticism. It just shows like a lack of planning on Gase's part. It shows like total inability to prep and game plan from Gase's point of view.
I mean, I agree with you on your point because we actually went through it last year. We won games with a duck.
Yes. Duck Hodges. By the way, I like him better than Mason Rudolph. I gotta tell you, I at least like the athleticism and the kind of like the duck calls kind of like throws you off the game. But like you said, you guys won with a 3rd string guy, and it shows that that's a potential for some teams. So why is it the Jets, who aren't even game planning like they're gonna win? They punted the game. They knew they were gonna lose. That shows bad mindset from your coaching staff. And if you have it coming from the top, dude, nobody's going to want to play for you. That's why Jamal Adams wasn't even going to give them the time of day when they kept on messing with him on the contract. And they promised him an extension in the offseason. That's the thing where you kind of start looking at Douglas and you go, is it Douglas or is it ownership or is it the coaching staff? And what it sounded like with the Jamal Adams situation was it was Joe Douglas was going into that offseason thinking he was going to have a bunch of money to spend cash-wise. And they have cap issues, but to be honest, the cap really wasn't going to affect an extension on Jamal Adams. It was cash. It's that real money, the stuff that we all really like. It's not the game stuff that we all look on the cap, over the cap and spot rack, not that stuff, real money. And he went to ownership, and ownership said, we're not going to give you a lot of real money this year. You get to play with the monopoly money. And so sign a couple of guys to like 1-year deals or low guarantees, because what happens is if they say gave Jamal Adams a big extension, like say you paid him as the highest safety in the NFL as an extension, right? Probably not that much money, probably like $15 million or less is what you'd be paying Jamal Adams. I know there was a lot of rumors out there. Odds are eventually his extension, if they had done an extension last season with him, it probably would have been in the $15 million range. But if you guarantee a certain amount of years on that deal, you have to put that in escrow. And I think that was the issue that ownership couldn't handle. They just went, well, we can't do escrow. Like, we don't have money for escrow. We can't do $45 million in escrow. We can't do that. Listen, Joe, find a bunch of guys who maybe can play offensive line. Don't sign Robbie Anderson, even though he wants to be on the Jets. Instead, he wants to be there long term. Just go get a guy like Robbie Anderson, looks like him. Maybe Brashad Perriman, who was a bust on like 3 other teams. Showed a little bit last year, but he's never been like a true asset. Like, no team's gonna look at him and be like, okay, this is the guy. I like Brashad Perriman. I liked what I saw when he was on the Browns, when he was on the Bucks. The only team that he really didn't play well for was when Joe Flacco was throwing him the ball. That's a shocker now. 4 years later, Joe Flacco throwing you the ball. Everybody's going like, I think he's causing some people some careers now.
Yeah.
Now you start questioning, like, oh, all right, Joe Flacco, not exactly the best quarterback in the world.
The last year he was on the Ravens team was about the same talk. It was like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, after that contract, it was a done deal for the Flack man.
Right. Get him out of here.
He was in the right scheme for the right system with what he did. He had Gary Kubiak's play action system, and that worked for him. Like, you have that nice little ability to bootleg out. That works for a lot of people. So now they went towards a different direction, and now Lamar Jackson. I think there's a lot of hope for the Ravens. I think that was an amazing pick. I've also made a lot of comments about, like, the Giants. Giants probably could have traded up from the second round and got Lamar Jackson. And imagine having Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson on the same team. Just that alternate universe.
You could actually truly run the option.
Right?
Yes. You would have maybe the scariest offense as far as running game. It wouldn't matter how bad your offensive line is either, because that type of offense makes an offensive line look better. Now, they probably would have had to invest in offensive line too, but at least that would have helped. Like, that zone read option offense sometimes actually helps. Also, having a mobile quarterback helps with that offensive lineman. So having Lamar Jackson, having Saquon Barkley, having, like, that would have been such. Now, granted, you would need to put a coaching staff around him that would work that in. He's in a great spot with the Ravens.
McAdoo wasn't ready for it.
Well, I think wasn't at the time it was Pat Shurmur. It was like that guy. That's never been his offense either.
Might be right. I think it was Shurmur.
I think it was Shurmur at the time. McAdoo, I mean, yeah, that was another weird one. Granted, McAdoo was the one who saw the demise of Eli and was saying, like, let's put in Geno Smith. I almost said Gene Hackman, which probably would have been just as good. Geno Smith, Gene Hackman, they both play quarterback, right? Right.
Geno Smith was too busy getting beat up by teammates in the locker room.
Yes. Well, that was back when he was on. Yeah, that was oh my God. And Fitzpatrick, that was Fitzpatrick's weird year where he was really good again. And then, like, the roller coaster that is Fitzpatrick.
You kind of got to feel sorry for that guy, man, because he's busting his ass. And then the way they did him this time is like, man, that's kind of wrong. You know,
100%.
He was sitting there. He was sitting there. It was his team to roll with. And
if he's winning, if it's broke, don't fix it. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And it wasn't
not only that, and they just pitched a shutout. Like, they had just won a game they had just shut out a team, and they went back-to-back win games. Mm-hmm. I think the decision was made 2 weeks before that. Like, I think they had made that decision before the Jacksonville game, back when they were kind of like, everybody was talking about benching Fitzpatrick. And keep in mind, the teams that he beat in that time frame were Jacksonville and the Jets, which are not considered top elite teams. So I understand their kind of mindset there, which is, especially they have the Houston Texans pick. You're going to want to know now, this year, if Tua is your guy. Because if you have the Houston Texans pick and that ends up being the #1 overall pick, that is going to be insane. That is going to have so much value, even if it's a #2 or 3 overall pick. The Houston Texans pick is going to be valuable for Miami. And to be able to trade down from that, there's going to be quarterbacks in this draft as well. If Tua is not your guy and you're not able to evaluate him going forward, that's why they stuck him in now. I think that was another reason to it. But like you're saying before, this was his team. Like, Kyle Van Noy was on, I think, Pat McAfee's podcast being like, whoa, Fitzmagic. Like, he's like,
that's a
he
nice
was just going. Yeah, he was like, yo, we are buying in on this guy. Fitzpatrick's our leader. This is our dude. We're going with him. We all believe in him. 2 weeks later, Fitzpatrick's on the bench after throwing a shutout. Like, it does not compute. And I think the reason here is it's short-term versus long-term. Tua is a different kind of cat. You're only going to get more knowledge out of who he is by playing him. Fitzpatrick was always kind of the guy in holding the front spot. And you're hoping 2 years down the line, you're not in a position to draft a quarterback. So you better figure out what you have now. So it makes sense. I think I probably would have. I don't know how I would have really went about that, especially given that situation. They're probably competitive enough to make the playoffs this year, and they were competitive enough. The game against the Rams, they beat the Rams not because of Tua though, because their defense is starting to really gel and show up.
Damon, what did I say at the beginning of the season about Miami's defense?
He did. He sang Miami's praises, and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
those signings, Byron Jones, and now you have Xavier Howard on the other side. Rowe has been good. Eric Rowe from the Patriots now is like a great free safety for them. Their defense, like the front seven, you know, Van Noy, you have Ogba, you have Shaq Lawson. None of those guys are true all-stars, but when they play together as a unit, it's a very Patriots-esque defense, which who has Flores played with? Oh, the Patriots. So yes, Flores is kind of like Flores might be the one guy who really does turn into Patriots South. And it's kind of shocking that he was the guy, because I don't think anybody, you know, people saw Patricia a few years ago. They, you know, McDaniels and O'Brien. O'Brien was successful. O'Brien had his own problems though. That was just could not work with anybody. That guy it would be, you know, this GM fired, that GM fired, and eventually the owner just went, fine, you know what? You're the GM now. And he's like, oh,
right.
I'm the GM now? And it was all on him. I don't think he even got a raise out of that, by the way. They just named him the GM. It was just like, Bill O'Brien, you are the weakest. You are now the GM. Now right. It's all on you. And then he trades away DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick and David Johnson.
That did it right there. That did it.
Stupid.
Yeah, the Bill O'Brien, the GM, cost Bill O'Brien the head coach's job. Now, that doesn't mean Bill O'Brien couldn't have found somebody else to be his guys, but there was just so much talk about him being like, he was in the negotiating room, he was doing the contract calls, like he was doing jobs that not even Bill Belichick does. Like Bill Belichick's like, dude, you're stretching yourself out.
He pulled the Chip Kelly card.
Yes, that's the other guy who did it. Chip Kelly had the GM thing that it was Chip Kelly, the GM, killed Chip Kelly, the head coach.
Bent my team over and gave it to him with zero Vaseline.
And then they had to come in, and then they went ahead. They got Carson Wentz. They got Doug Peterson. By the way, I will say this: I think the Eagles will bounce back after this year, even if they make it to the playoffs and it's a one-time out or whatever. I think there's just a lot of injuries for the Eagles. I was very high on the Eagles going into this year, so maybe I'm kind of still buying into that. But I like what I've seen from the defense. I think this is probably the best defense, even with the weird linebacker situation, which linebackers around the league are not playing well. So It doesn't even matter. Like the best linebackers in the league, I think there's like 3 of them that are good, and everybody else is just playing average to below average. So people make a big deal about linebackers. The problem is it's not really a position where there's a lot of really, really good ones, and it takes time to develop them. You're better off getting guys for 6th-round picks who are like, okay, we'll see if this guy fits. Doesn't work, or we'll get that guy. Ravens might have a good one with Patrick Queen, but honestly, like he wasn't showing great the first few weeks either. So. We
lost for the year.
Yes, Bush. I think you guys traded up for him, right? Yeah, went from traded a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick for him, and I liked him coming out. But again, I liked him coming out, and his coverage ability was what everybody liked about him. And again, like he even was still having some struggles. He had some really good games. Not every game was great. But that's the issue with the position is that it's one guy who's been drafted in the first round the past few years has been solid when he's played. Maybe Roquan Smith and Reuben Foster have been good. They eventually developed to being good guys. Problem is Reuben Foster can't even get on the field half the time. You know, either it's an outside the NFL thing where there's some kind of allegation where it's like, dude, stop doing shit. You had like 9 times this happened. Now all of a sudden you're in Washington. What's going on here? But then he tears his ACL. He's having a hard time coming back, which happens sometimes with ACLs. We got so used to ACLs being like, oh, look, I just tore my ACL. It's back in like 6 months, 9 months. Good. You know, ACLs are a really weird thing. We're now seeing guys, maybe it takes like more of a year before they come back to full health. We just saw Jamal Charles and Adrian Peterson wreck the league by storm after ACLs, and we just went, ACLs are nothing anymore. But yeah, like linebacker plays kind of weird. But again, like the Eagles defense, like Slay was a really good pickup for them. That D-line's really good. The receiving core will eventually develop. I have a real belief that receiving core eventually will be some
2 years now.
3 years. Well, I think Deshaun Jackson, they should have maybe got rid of him in the offseason and found another speedster.
Alshon Jeffrey should have been gone a while ago.
Bad contract.
God love Deshaun Jackson, but it is his time to probably hang his jersey up or go to, somewhere that is at high caliber to get him a ring in 1 year and one and done. But, let's call a spade a spade. We shouldn't have kept Jason Peters either. He's an awesome tackle. He's a big body. He does his job, but he's only in for 3 or 4 games and he gets hurt, if that. And then he comes back and then he gets hurt. You see him every game to every other game walking off the sidelines limping because it's his foot, his knee, his ankle, something. It's time for him to go. Now, it is time for a little bathroom scrolling, Wojo. We're going to bring you in to some bathroom scrolling. We're going to kind of go a little bit quick through them, but we're going to give us some time. This is brought to you by mybookie.ag. If you go to mybookie.ag, if you're a betting man, Wojo, you might want to listen to this. You go to mybookie.ag, sign up using promo code BWSPORTS1 for 100% deposit match up to $1,000.
Wow.
That's right. mybookie.ag. Bathroom scrolling, baby. Damon, lead us off.
Okay, we'll start it off. Are you a boxing fan, my good man?
Colloquially. So if you probably asked me about certain guys I probably wouldn't know anything about. I actually do have a friend who is a boxing promoter, though.
You do a friend that's a boxing promoter?
I have a friend who's a boxing promoter.
Oh,
He's
you
actually
have
also,
a friend.
yes. I know. I do a friend. I do a friend. I sometimes speak without words. Sometimes I just leave words out, and I let people try to catch up. Oh,
Hey,
you said words.
I mean, I totally understand the friends with benefits thing when I was growing up, but man, I don't know. To each his own.
But I'm not. I could probably get
Not that guy.
Depends on who you're talking about as far as boxing goes. But more of a UFC kind of guy.
Okay.
All right.
But what's going on with the boxing world?
The reason why I asked, because it was a really big fight over the weekend. You have Floyd Mayweather's protege, Gervonta Davis.
Yes, I like that guy.
Awesome fight led up. I mean, this is a fight that normally would bring in a lot of pay-per-view money. So you had Gervonta Davis against Santa Cruz, who is a very excellent boxer. But he kind of forgot about the short left uppercut.
It was like this. It was like this. Watch.
Ooh.
That's exactly what that looked like.
Hey, somebody texted me and said, "Hey, did you watch the fight?" I said, "Kinda." He said, "Did you see the knockout?" I said, "Yes."
Yes,
I did. How'd you get up under the ropes in the corner? That's
I remember watching Gervonta Davis fights, though. I've seen a couple of them. He had the one time he came in on all the blue furry stuff.
He's Floyd's boy, man.
Yeah.
But he's a really good fighter. He might be the next guy in that Floyd weight class that is pretty much unstoppable. I mean, he's young. He came in the game very highly touted. Olympian, Golden Glover, the boxing shit.
Yeah.
He's a really good young fighter, and he's focused. And he's one of those guys, he's super fast, but he's super skilled. You know what I mean? And he has one, as you can see, he's got one punch power, because it was one punch and it was like, hey, I need to be like trying to get all these belts in my corner, because that's
what he's saying is he's already better than Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd can never put anybody out. Now that's a little lie, because in his younger days he probably could do some things like that, but it's been a long time since we've seen Floyd Mayweather take anybody out.
Punches. Floyd knocked people out by combinations. Multiple combinations throughout rounds.
Not a one-punch power.
Gervonta Davis and this other kid by the name of Shakur Stevenson, both of those guys have one-punch power. Like I can hit you, like you can be smacking me all around and just the fight's over.
That's true. That's true. Next up, Damon.
Next up, Giancarlo Stanton. He does not opt out of his contract with the Yankees, so he is still on The Yankees are still on the mend, having to pay him $218 million rest of his salary. Wise move by a guy who's been injured the last couple years. Because if you opt out, you're opting out to get more money.
Yeah. This is around your neck of the woods over there, Wojo.
You know, it's funny. I remember growing up, the Yankees were everybody talked about the Yankees because they were always like in the World Series like every other year. And every Yankees fan I know is kind of quieted down. And I don't know, like, and I'm guessing it's because they haven't been as successful. But like they kind of like this year they were competitive.
They're kind of like the Cowboys of baseball.
Yes, like they had that really good string like in the 90s, and everybody kind of like they were America's team, early 2000s. And then like now it's just everybody's like they're looking at the pinstripes, the old "Catch Me If You Can" line. Everybody's so busy looking at the pinstripe, they kind of go, "Oh, yeah," but they're not who they used to be anymore. And they're just never. It doesn't seem like they get back to they sound like they're about to be back. It's like, oh, it's the Yankees again, and then it's like Jeter being gone. I think was kind of the end of their real, I guess, like star power of like that old echelon of guys, because like that he was kind of the last callback to like that really good string. I think Jeter retiring. I think Jeter retiring kind of lost a lot of their fandom and people who really paid attention. I still know a lot of people who pay attention.
I mean, they won it after Jeter retired.
That's besides.
Yeah. But again, like but having that guy who was in all of those, like through all that time where they were just like this dominant force, like, because after Jeter retired, there was almost like kind of like there was some talks like they were like, they're not as good as they used to be. There was even a year where like the year where the Mets were competitive and the Yankees weren't. Everybody's like, oh, it's all switching now. And then
that changed immediately.
Yeah, that didn't last long at all.
Yeah, the Mets are like the Browns of baseball.
And the Mets fans found out they were still paying Bobby Bonilla.
Man, that's a smart. That right there is a smart contract, if I do say so myself. Next up, I'll lead off with this one since this has nothing to do with Brad Doherty. Chase Elliott wins the last chance race to get in the NASCAR championship. Kevin Harvick, after winning, I believe, 3 races throughout the season and a lot of top 5 and top 10s, is axed from the championship. Wojo, do you know anything roughly about what NASCAR does with their playoff scheme?
I do not. I probably could call a friend or two. I can probably. I have a lot.
No, there's no phone a friend. You
God
can't
damn it!
phone a friend.
Yeah,
there's no phone a friend here.
Regis Philbin died, and we can't do that anymore. Can we poll the audience? Can I get a 50-50?
We're gonna have to work on that one.
I don't know how that last one works.
Yeah, we might have to come up with that one. So I'm not too sure how they do it because it's stupid to me. But yeah, Kevin Harvick won races throughout the season, was high up, top 10, finishes all season long, gets axed because of the pointing system that they do. Again, I'm not too keen on NASCAR per se because I'm more of an open wheel racing fan myself. But I think Kevin Harvick got screwed. I do think that Chase Elliott is good to be in the championship, but I think they did that for marketing purposes. Damon, what do you think?
Damon thinks one thing and one thing only. If you want my attention, turn right.
Oh, jeez. Maybe that's why we got your attention at the go-kart track, because we did lefts and rights.
And that was fun.
There you go.
All right, so let's see here. We got the new AP rankings for the college top 10.
First, real quick, Wojo, who's your college team?
Rutgers, unfortunately. If we're talking about like competitive teams, we're talking competitive teams.
I mean, who's you? Oh, wait a minute, hold on here. I'll let you say that.
If we're talking real competitive teams, I like LSU last year was fun. I kind of college. I'm more of I'll tune in to see who's the more competitive teams.
Now, for some reason, I thought I heard hot come out of your mouth real quick, and then he's like, "Oh shit! Wait a minute! Look behind Damon! Oh my god!"
I'm not overly again, I like college when I just like watching the competitive games in college. Like last year, LSU was fun to watch. Because it changed. Yes, other than Alabama
games though, other than Alabama.
Alabama, well, and the Clemson game was competitive.
Well,
yeah, they were fun. Like LSU was fun to watch last year. Not this year anymore. Losing Joe Brady and Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all those guys, man. They still have. Oh no, they don't. Oh, did Jamar? They
have people.
Yeah,
they have people. They have guys. They just don't have everybody anymore. They lost half their offensive line. Ed Orgeron, there was actually questions 2 years ago if Ed Orgeron was going to be around long term. It just he made a deal with the devil, had made Joe Burrow magical, found Joe Brady to come in.
That's how we do it around here.
Now I'm not going to say it was like a magical move. I think it was a smart move on Mr. Joe Burrow's part because we must not forget that he was at the Devil School in Ohio. So he had to have some type of talent. So, I mean, going down to the SEC and doing those numbers shouldn't have been quite a surprise. And as we see him doing with the Bengals, I mean, man,
he's good.
Be tough. The division's going to be tough. And we need a quarterback after Ben.
Yes. Wow. That's going to be the question: is who's the long-term guy at quarterback eventually after Ben? Depends on how much time they think they have with him, right?
If do something quick, because I see if for some reason they win this year,
he's done.
He's done.
I kind of agree with that.
But everybody's looking at Duck. Everybody's looking at Maddox. But the guy you need to be really paying attention to is the guy that doesn't even dress. He's the guy that Ben Roethlisberger completely trusts, and that's Joshua Dobbs.
Do like him. The Volunteers guy, right?
Yep.
They traded him last year to Jacksonville. He was there, and then all of a sudden Ben went down, and they're like, oh, shoot, we probably shouldn't have traded that guy because he probably would have made him even more competitive. They probably would have made it to a playoff last year if they had kept Dobbs. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to make too many assumptions on that. I know they traded him over to Jacksonville, though, last year. Yeah, I think the long-term answer is not on the roster. It might be a draft pick. It might be a guy who's currently in the NFL who just isn't starting right now, or a guy who eventually will start for them, like a Teddy Bridgewater if Carolina drafts a guy. It might be that they go through a small change up. It might be next year they spend a first-round pick on a guy and have him sit behind Ben if Ben stays an extra year or two. And he still might, but I do think you're right. I think if this team is so competitive that they make it to a Super Bowl, it gives him that walk-off moment, done in the Hall of Fame. Don't anybody talk about me no more. We don't. But maybe a Jameis Winston being there. Sam Darnold again. If the Jets trade away Sam Darnold,
nope.
No, you don't buy that one. You don't like that pick.
Nope. We'll discuss all that later. Nope. I don't take any of that. Mike Tomlin is smart. The Pittsburgh Steelers are smart. They'll make a good
Mike
choice.
Tomlin is amazing.
That's where we're going to leave it.
Mike Tomlin might be one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. I love watching his pressers. He's excited sometimes. Early week pressers, he's excited. He just gets into it. He's like, this team's really good. They've got guys. They're impressive. They know how to play football. They're 10 deep at the cornerback position. He knows it, and he'll break it down like that, and he'll know it like he's been watching this team for the last 20 weeks. He's just that. I love watching Tomlin's pressers. He last year he proved he is one of the top. If he's not, maybe he's top 3 or 4 head coaches because you have Belichick and Andy Reid in the league. So that third spot he's competing for. And I think if he makes it to a Super Bowl this year, I think you have to stick him in that third spot at minimum.
Agreed. So we get to the top 10 for the AP rankings for college. Mm-hmm. Alabama is quickly closing this gap with Clemson. I think the gap was shortening before the COVID crisis for Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson football team. But I think with that, it's effective. It's affected a lot of things. It's affected their votes. It has affected their chances to beat Notre Dame this week. It's affected. It's clearly affected his Heisman chances because he's no longer the top guy. I think it's the running back for Alabama now who's the top guy. So looking
Najee
at
Harris?
the top 10, you know, you got Clemson, Alabama, OSU, the Fighting Irish, Georgia, Cincinnati, Texas A&M, Florida, BYU, and I don't even know why Wisconsin is even still being mentioned. Well, we already know they're completely out of it so far. I mean, just take them out.
So far, there is no way that team's coming back because they have 27, I think, confirmed tests of
and you got to sit 21 days, so they don't even have people to put on the field.
I mean, that's a half of your, at least a third of your sidelines. Yeah, they're done. They're done. Wisconsin, gone. Penn State, gone. There's only 2 teams in the Big Ten that can do anything, and it's Ohio State and IU. I just had to say that because you're playing them this week.
I wouldn't be surprised if they took a second L in a row.
I think you're right,
tell
though.
You what, man, IU, they've played Michigan the past few years. I mean,
very close.
Very close. And with what Allen's got going on down there in Bloomington, and it's funny, I'm gonna go down there tomorrow. I'm actually gonna be around Bloomington tomorrow. So I'm gonna see if I see or hear of anything going on down there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a make or break. This is a make or break for this Harbaugh. Basically is a job game.
This is Harbaugh's job.
I mean, this is a job game from Harbaugh. I mean, we got this in our notes down here. I mean, that we just tie it all in together. I mean, this is a job game for Harbaugh. Every game for the rest of this season is a job game for him. Because for the last 6 to 7 years, us as Michigan fans have waited and waited and waited, but you are 1-5 against Michigan State and Ohio State at home. You're 1-5. You are 0-14 in your last 2 games of the season. You are 0-14. You have been blown out in your last 2 games of the season by a total combined of plus 200. Woo! Come on, man. That's not going to do it at this school. They ain't going to do it.
He needs to find a new house in a new city because Harper's kicking them out.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of getting rid of coaches in the middle of a season. I think that's completely bad for the kids.
But
especially college. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yes.
But at the end of the year, they really need to figure out a way to let him find somewhere else to be. I mean, the whole reason why we've been thinking about this is he stayed long enough is who you going to get to replace him? You know what I mean? Who's out there? Who's going to be that guy? There is no one. So this is who we stuck with. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, great. You brought back the fandom. You brought back the energy. You brought back Michigan pride, but you have not brought back wins.
You have to bring these. Those are called W.
You can lose to Appalachian State, but if you beat Ohio State, it doesn't matter.
It's true. That's true.
Why? Why has he not been good? Like, why is he not putting guys in the position? Like, we've seen a lot of guys go to the NFL from Michigan. Like, we see that they have high-end talent. Why is this kind of going on? Is it scheme? Is it it's not talent for the most part, other than quarterback.
100% scheme. I think it's 100% scheme. You know what I mean? You the offense that you're trying to run, you're not being able to do that with 3-star and 4-star recruits. If you want to compete at a national level, and if you want to compete at the high level in the Big Ten with OSU, you're going to have to recruit. You know what I mean? They're getting 4-star, 5 stars on the regular. You know what I mean? We're getting 5 stars talk their junior year, but senior year, they're going down south or they're going out west. You know what I mean? You got to recruit, and he's been terrible at recruiting. Put it in perspective. Juwan Howard's come in. He's been in his year. He's been on the – I mean, this is ready to be his second year, and you already have 3 commits from 5-star athletes.
They've been good at getting guys on defense. Like, they have been pretty solid with that. I don't know if they've been high. Their defense has been okay, but like not their defense itself has not been okay. But the guys they've been putting in there, like they've been Rashawn Gary ended up being like he was a big guy for a bit, but there's just Chase Winovich, Josh Uche, Jabril Peppers. They had a lot of guys who have been like.
I think this guy's a closet Michigan fan, Damon.
I mean, we put out offensive linemen.
But their offense has been weird. But their offense has been
their offensive linemen we put out are fucking great.
Ben Bredesen. All right, was that the guy last year who
you know what I mean? We got dudes that are
yes.
But when it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to wide receivers, you know what I mean, when it comes to Donovan Peoples-Jones made a big play a couple weeks ago. But I mean, when it comes to receivers, quarterbacks, and running backs, we're putting out shit. Mike Hart might have been the best one in the last 10 years. Wow. And he lasted, 2 weeks in the league?
And DPJ almost kind of regrets going to Michigan. Like, they barely, he didn't have a very productive time there. He almost went undrafted. And, Browns took a shot at him in the 6th round. And he's been an interesting player for them, more as a developmental guy. But, again, he didn't get to develop when he went there. So, and he was a big popped up, recruit kind of guy. Everybody was kind of eager to hear from him, see where he was going to go. And he did nothing there. And like you said, the quarterback situation, there's a lot kind of rough. The scheme, maybe, you look at Mike Leach is kind of starting to show, is kind of showing a little bit of, I don't know. I'm kind of you see a lot of these teams where it's Georgia, with Todd Monken now moving over to there, you're seeing some competitiveness offensively. If you don't have the mindset, you don't have a good coordinator, like Joe Brady when he went to LSU, you need that offensive scheme that's going to work for you. And that wins you games in college. It's offense. Yeah. I was talking about defensive players, but if you can't get anything out of your guys, other than Alabama and LSU, who gets known for their defense, maybe Ohio a little bit, their corners are really good. And every once in a while they have a good pass rusher. Once every 2 years they get a big name pass rusher.
Well, we already know nobody in the Big 12 is going to be known for any defense.
Yeah, Texas took care of that. When they beat Oklahoma State. So
yeah,
the Big 12 is out.
Yeah, it's I think this year's going to be, even LSU's guys who you thought were going to be good on defense have not. And again, losing a lot of guys to the draft probably didn't help with them there. I think this is going to be a weird year for defense in the draft. Kind of looking into it. Some interesting guys from the SEC.
I can see your point. Now, I mean, with LSU, I think this is just that one rebuilding year because you lost so many people to the draft, lost so many people for sitting out because of the COVID.
Which would be your transition players going from, losing 10 to the draft. You got these couple guys, that are draft ready. They're just not ready yet, but you got these guys here that help that transition. Those transition guys are went ahead, hey, I need to sit out and prep for the league. So you got that gap in there that they're falling into, and this, everybody goes through it. They just got hit right away.
Yeah, theirs showed a lot harder than on some other teams. I think Georgia's had that issue in the past, but Georgia will lose 2 games and it's a bad time for Georgia. Or 3, have they lost 3 games in the last 2 years? I don't even remember. But they Georgia seems to be the 2 or 3 in the SEC, and then they're very rarely ever won. They're just 2 or 3.
Right. They're on that Notre Dame brink. We know what your history is. We've been waiting for it. You're right here ready, but no.
Well, speaking of that, Damon, I want to hear Wojo's. This is the last thing I got on the top 10 in college. Wojo, big game, 7:30 Saturday night. Number 1, Clemson, without Trevor Lawrence, goes to South Bend to play number 4 Notre Dame. In South Bend, Clemson is 7-point favorites. Wojo, who are you picking?
That's rough because you don't know that you really haven't gotten to see how they look without Trevor Lawrence.
Well, last weekend they looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to butcher his name because that's even worse than Tua's. They did look good. He looked good The team overall, from what you're used to seeing, struggled a little bit, but I mean, I think that's just par for
I guess I lean Clemson if it's a pick 'em, but you're talking about plus 7 points.
So I'll let you do the money line.
It's ETN. That's the reason why they still have the favorite part of it.
Oh, ETN.
Notre Dame has struggled at times this year defending the run, and ETN is probably behind out with the guy from Alabama, probably the 2 best backs in the country this year. They are electric, and ETN he can do it from the pass, catching out the backfield. He can go wide, and he can break that thing up the middle. So it's going to be dangerous for Notre Dame. I think the favor to me is in Notre Dame's corner, but I just don't have that belief in Chip Kelly versus Dabo Swinney.
Well, for one, that's not Chip Kelly.
Well,
Brian Kelly.
Kelly, sucky wucky.
For one. For two, they always scare me when they announce that they're going to wear the green jerseys because it's like a curse, I think. I think we've only won 2 out of the last 10 times that we've worn those jerseys. For 3, I'm still saying go Irish. But if they lose this game, they're going to have to rematch them in the ACC championship game, more than likely. They're going to have to win that game. If you're going to pick one to lose, Notre Dame, it better be this one over the one that's the night before the playoff talk. Just saying.
Agreed.
Just saying.
Agreed.
Wojo.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, man. I appreciate
Definitely.
it. We want to hear all your shout outs and where you can be found everywhere.
You can find me on all social media platforms at BROJO. Death is in the end of life. Punch, like that delicious drink you drink at parties. Rojo Death Punch. It's a great name. Had it for years. So you can find me anywhere. It's right underneath. Oh my God, it's amazing. On all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram. You type that into the YouTubes, you might find my YouTube page. The YouTube page posts a lot of YouTube videos, short videos, long videos, part of my podcast. And then I also do 3 shows. I do Draft Vice, football show. That's kind of where I got my start doing all the podcasting stuff, right? I kind of mixed it in with some comedians that are local comedians in my area, had them come on. We draft some weird stuff. Talk football, get guys on who are comics, local comics who kind of are into football. And now I've done draft stuff. I do fantasy football. Face Off of Face Mirror, like you said, you were on it. Over the summer, we did a lot of interviews. Actually, I think that was probably the most. I've never really did interviews before that point. That was probably the best I've ever had, like kind of doing interviews. That was kind of fun. Now we do pick'ems on Thursday nights. So tune in. You can call in. You can make your own picks for the week.
What time is that? Because
you can find
tomorrow we got an interview with a concussion doctor. But what time is that show? Because I would love to make my picks for you guys.
It's 6:00. Call in at 6:30 to make the picks if you want to call in live, or you can email them at Brenda's email, which I think you're part of her group. So, and then I do a show called Punk Law 101, which is it's actually a legal news and analysis and comedy show. It's me, a friend of mine who's also an attorney.
Guy is a lawyer, Damon.
I know it doesn't look like it. I look like the guy who needs a lawyer.
He's not Jewish.
Not Jewish at all.
It's kind of like the lead singer from Disturbed. You would never look at him thinking he has a major or a doctorate or something in. Shut up, Damon. In criminal justice. So it's just hilarious.
But yeah, we break down a lot of times. Now we're going back to probably Supreme Court stuff starting in the next week or two because they're doing hearings right now. This week, and I'm not gonna jump into all the stuff. I think this week they had I think Amy Coney Barrett's first hearings that she's been sitting in on. So we'll go ahead talk a little bit about what's been discussed for some of those cases. Those opinions will probably get released towards the end of the year, and then we'll break down what the Supreme Court said on them. I also post short videos on the YouTube about with kind of more quicker things. And those are like the main three things that I do for right now during COVID. And I'm also a local, really low end stand up, kind of like just trying to get into that, just kind of start making jokes and get near that area. But really, I like the podcasting and the video stuff. And that's generally the most of the stuff I do right now. But thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This was very fun. You guys are great.
Yeah. We would love to invade Draft Vice one night. Maybe we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely, I will. I have to figure it out. But I would definitely do it. If you tell me a time. A good thing is it's pre-recorded, so I could record it anytime for you guys. I have a really weird laptop, so I've been having harder times doing that stuff. But I'm at the point where I might be buying a new one anyway, or I can try to finagle it where it will work this time. I've done live streams before. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm sitting there talking to myself, and it's just a blank screen for some time, and I'm like, "What's going on? Why is nobody talking?"
I feel like half the time on Wednesday Night Live.
But no, this has been great, you guys. I really appreciate you having me on here.
I see what you're doing there. That's not correct.
Those are index fingers. He's just going like number one, Michigan number one.
Woo! Well, Joe, appreciate it, man. It's been fun. Thanks for coming on. Everybody, Walter, Dip Touch, Bro Joe, Death Punch on all social media pages. We will see you again soon, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks. You too, man.
Thanks, man.
Always.
Now, I took the wrong person out. Back is. All right, see you later. I just messed this all up now because now everybody's used to seeing us the opposite way. Let's throw in some station identification real quick before we do our picks, because we definitely got to get our picks in. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Shawn Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Shawn at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSPORTS1.com sent you. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Dan from Black and White Sports and BWSPORTS1.com. I'm here today to fill you in on a little banking advice. I don't know much, but I know somebody who does. Mr. John Wayne Buzzard at First Financial Bank, 317-417-8582. Call John for all your banking essentials. He's really good at banking. 317-417-8582. Call John today and tell him the boys from BWSPORTS1.com sent you. That's right, folks. Oh, man, hold on. This messes me. There we go. It messes me up every time. Anytime I do that, it messes me up. All right.
Well, we don't want you messed up, bro. Hey, so you just want to do our picks, or do you want to do our surprises and all that?
I want to do them all. I don't have a problem doing them all.
Okay.
Start off with your surprise, Damon. What's your surprise? Who's your surprise?
My surprise player, I'm going to go with Drew Lock with 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and a game-winning touchdown for the Broncos.
It was. So even though John Elway has the COVID, his quarterback finally does what he wanted him to do from day one and said that he could do. 3 touchdowns, win of the game. I'm going to send a surprise out to Stephon Diggs' younger brother, Trayvon Diggs, over in Dallas. That's right. He had a hell of a game against us. I know he had 1 pick, could have been 2, but he played a damn good game. I see big things for that guy.
All right, so team, your surprise team.
Dolphins. And it was on the defensive and special teams. 3 touchdowns from that defense and special team squad. Like I told you at the beginning of the year, the defense is going to win some games for him, and it did. Damon, who you got?
My surprise team, I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Yeah.
That with Dalvin Cook with 4 touchdowns.
He's a bad man.
They play like I expected them to play.
If they keep him healthy, their running game could be something, and it could open up their passing game, obviously. Dalvin Cook's not in the backfield. They got problems.
Yes.
Okay. Next. Disappointing player of the week. Damon, who's your player? All right. Who's your 11 players?
Yes. My defensive disappointment is the whole Green Bay Packers defense.
Well, I'll give you that one. They sure didn't show up.
Like, oh my God. Like I feel like I'm like from the valley, like how bad like are they like?
Lie. I got Baker, man. Baker. 0 touchdowns, 0 anything. I think he did have a stat on the INT list, but that offense scored 0 points into the end zone. 2 field goals is all they were able to do against the Raiders, and I picked the Raiders to win the game. Did I send you my parlay, my 3-team parlay, or did I tell you who I picked?
No, you didn't do anything. The wife and I both picked the Cleveland Browns to win that game.
Well, I picked Oakland, I picked Miami, and then the third team in my parlay screwed me, and that would be the Detroit Lions. Yeah.
Never trusted a lion against a horse.
The only reason I did is because usually, typically, statistically speaking, the Colts aren't always the best after a bye week. So,
you went with the analytics.
I did. I did.
All right, so disappointing teams, sir.
Disappointing teams. Fuck.
In the background, someone said the Eagles.
Oh, I heard it. We won. Not gonna be disappointed about that, fucker. Rams and the Titans is my tie for this week. Both flopping. I mean, I did pick the Dolphins to win that game, but man.
I mean, at least give me a show. Jared Goff played right into what you've been saying for ever.
9 weeks.
Yeah. So mine was the Saints and the Titans.
Yeah.
The Saints because
they let it go to overtime.
Our expectation is not what we're getting. From the football team. Is Mike Evans the difference? You know what I mean? Is he really? I don't know. I mean, I guess I know they won, but it doesn't look real. Blah 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 blah. And the Titans, listen, you got your ass. You snuck one. I mean, you got beat. And then you didn't come back. I expected you to come back and play like you were at the beginning of the year, and that was like Pittsburgh just got lucky because of the way the coin and all that shit fell down or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
what are you looking at?
I don't know, but I felt that we should have got more from them, and we didn't get it. So the Titans is on my list.
Gotcha. All right. Last week's games. We're not even going to talk about last week's games. Let's talk about this week's games.
Yes.
Damon, we'll start off with the worst game.
Well, I didn't put last week's in because I was trying to condense and combine and.
I gotcha. It's all right, man. Worst game this week. Who are you picking?
Because
I think that might actually be.
I'm a little pissed off about your game.
Why?
I mean, hold on. Just because the Cowboys suck,
it's going to be the worst game of the week.
I know.
You guys are the top team in the league, and they are shit.
Only because we're undefeated. I'm not going to be no. I listen.
Okay, but your defense is stout, and you have Baducci.
Yeah, I just want you to know.
No, I'm sorry. Hold on here. I lied.
We have some other people.
Huh?
We got some other people.
Oh, the little dude?
Yeah.
That little dude over there.
But listen.
No, I'm not going to listen. You're going to beat the dog crap out of that team. And if you don't, I'm going to give you shit for the next month.
Well, I'm going to expect to, yes.
That's the point.
I'm going to expect.
Everybody can hear the background peanut gallery.
I know. That lets you know we're live, baby.
We're live, baby.
No, I have the Patriots and the Jets as the worst game. Yes, worst game. I got the Patriots and the Jets.
I think that's going to be a good game, folks. Watch out. It's going to be a 4-point game.
And like I mentioned earlier in our notes that we didn't talk about, but really, did anybody think that even with Camden, New England was going to be good?
No, maybe a little bit better than what they are now, but
did anybody say, "Hey, I feel New England's going to win the AFC East"?
Nope.
No. So yeah, this is a bad game. You got the Jets organization who is in disarray, who is in turmoil.
The Jets gonna get a win, baby. Watch it. Cam gonna lose again.
Hey, if Cam loses again, he should retire. If he loses to the Jets, he should retire.
Getting close. Obviously, my worst game, Steelers at Cowboys. Done deal. Next, most intriguing game of the week, Damon.
I have the Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts.
And because you picked it, I didn't. And I looked at the other game.
But the other game is kind of intriguing as well. Mm-hmm. But I picked the Ravens and the Colts for one because the Ravens coming off that loss to Pittsburgh. They have a lot to prove, a lot of questions that are being asked on their offensive side of the ball. And the Colts are coming off 2 back-to-back victories and one where they put up a whole lot of points where they're trying to silence the echoes of true fans in the neighborhoods. They're saying #Jacoby. I don't care what Philip does. I'm still team Jacoby.
Well, you go ahead and stick there. Most intriguing game, Dolphins at Cardinals. 2 teams that are up and coming teams in their own rights. One has a fantabulous offense that's put together now. The other has an amazing defensive backfield. Can't really say the whole defense, but you see what it just did to the one of the quote unquote elite NFC teams last weekend. And I use that very loosely in my opinion because I think, they're overrated, but that is what it is. The Rams.
Oh, yeah. Who said they were elite?
I mean, that's what people's talked about the past couple of years. And obviously not this year. But
1 year. The year they made the Super Bowl. And the year after that.
No. Anyway. What do you got for the best game, Damon?
Best game. I have Seahawks and Bills.
What do I have?
You got Bears and Titans.
Oh, yeah. Bears and Titans. Both coming off a loss. Both still hungry. Both still eager. Both need this win. That's going to be a good game.
Khalil Mack in the middle. Henry coming through the middle.
I see the train, the choo-choo train, blaring right over Khalil Mack into the end zone. Tennessee wins, baby. You bet your ass.
No.
I
feel that Khalil Mack gets double teamed, and Derrick Henry goes to where the double team was not, and the Titans win.
Either way, Titans win. Angel, you'll be proud of us. We're both picking your team.
Nah. Nah. I really want to pick the Bears.
I don't think they got it, man. I think it's the time where the Bears start doing this little.
But you had the Bears.
No, I didn't. I had the Bears Matter of fact, asshole. Hold on here. Is this that?
He's got the sheet.
Yeah, I still got him right here in my office. Hold on. Yeah. No, I did. I had them second at 7 and 9. But my Philly pick at 10 and 6 ain't doing too well. Oh, shit. I just happened to look at it. You know, this is okay. So I got Seattle on top. I got Green Bay on top. I don't know what the hell I was thinking about putting Carolina on. No. I wrote those wrong. I had New Orleans on top of Tampa Bay. I had Philly and Dallas. So, yeah. Well, I got them out. Let me see what I do with the AFC. Colts, yep. Steelers, yep. Chiefs, yep. Bills, yep. Damn, I'm good. That's straight from the ass tonight, brother. That's straight from the ass. Dan's picks are not doing too bad. Do we have a one thought tonight?
The one thought is, I'm gonna take it away from
show with Dan.
I'm gonna take it. My one thought. I'm gonna take it away from sports a little bit.
Oh God!
Through all the madness in the world, take time to enjoy what's real to you.
I like that.
That's it.
That's why Damon texts me during the day. That guy right there is the one. This guy right here is the
show notes.
Yes. Together, it's been Wednesday Night Live, brother. That's right. BWSPORTS1.com. And it was been power. I seen some flash come out of the corner of my eye. Now it threw me off a little bit. Power.
It's the ukulele girl.
The ukulele girl. She is widely known now across the BW Sports 1 world as the Pew Pew girl and the ukulele girl. That's right. And we have been powered by First Financial Bank. 317-417-8582. Call John tomorrow, not today because he's closed. Call him tomorrow for all your banking essentials and accessories. 317-417-8582. And the Rockstar Realtor, Mr. Shawn Nugent. What are you doing? The Shawn Nugent. Buying or selling a home? Talk to Shawn and talk to Tucker today. 317-503-8322. Damon. What do we do?
We try to keep Indy sporty with a little bit of the truffle shuffle.
Pew pew.
Yes. I think you threw everybody off with the truffle shuffle. Yeah. Woo!